The rain poured mercilessly over the marble driveway of the Greywood estate, its rhythm echoing through the silent night like the beating of a guilty heart. Ethan Greywood, dressed in worn jeans and a faded hoodie, stood outside his own mansion, the home he had built from nothing but ambition and pain, and hesitated to enter. The gates had not recognized him this time. Neither did the guards nor the staff inside, who thought the new maintenance worker was just another hire from a cleaning agency. No one knew that the man walking quietly through the grand halls was the billionaire owner himself, a man trying to rediscover the meaning of life beneath the layers of wealth, lies, and loneliness that success had buried him under. But tonight, something was different. The air inside felt heavier, the once gleaming chandelier lights shimmered faintly, and an eerie stillness surrounded the house that used to buzz with laughter and music. Ethan's heart clenched as he stepped inside the vast living room, now cold and silent. That's when he heard it. Soft, muffled sobs echoing down the corridor leading to the staff quarters. If you believe in kindness, second chances, and the idea that true hearts can heal even the deepest pain, please like, comment, share, and subscribe to this channel right now. Your support helps us spread stories that remind people of the power of compassion. Ethan followed the sound quietly, his footsteps careful on the marble floor. As he turned the corner, he froze. Sitting on the floor beside a mop bucket was a young woman, the maid, Clara. Her shoulders trembled as she tried to stifle her tears, clutching something in her hand, a small locket, old and worn. Her uniform was soaked from cleaning, her hair falling loose around her face. She didn't see him at first. She was too lost in her pain, whispering broken words into the dim air. "I didn't mean to. I just wanted to keep my job. I can't lose it now," she murmured. Ethan stood still, his throat tightening. He had met many employees over the years, most driven by fear of him, by ambition, by the need for approval. But this felt different. The sincerity in her voice, the raw ache, made something stir deep within him, something he thought he had lost long ago. He quietly stepped closer, watching as she gently opened the locket. Inside was a small photo of a little boy, no older than 6, smiling with missing front teeth. The sight broke him. She wasn't crying for herself, she was crying for someone she loved, someone she missed. That night, Ethan couldn't sleep. He lay on the small bed in the servants' quarters. His disguise had forced him to live like one of his staff, and the sound of her sobs replayed in his mind. He had gone undercover weeks ago, wanting to see how his mansion truly operated when no one knew the boss was watching. He wanted honesty, not fake smiles. But what he found was something far more personal, a reminder that his wealth could never buy the humanity he had lost along the way. Over the next few days, he watched Clara silently. She arrived early, worked the hardest, and smiled at others even when her own eyes were red from crying. When food was short in the staff kitchen, she shared her own portion. When another maid accidentally broke a vase, she took the blame and the pay deduction without complaint. She carried a quiet strength, the kind only born from survival. Ethan learned from the others that Clara was a single mother. Her husband had died in a factory fire, leaving her with debts and a son battling a heart condition. She worked multiple jobs just to afford his treatment, but lately her hours had been cut and she was close to being dismissed. The new supervisor, unaware of who Ethan truly was, treated her harshly, accusing her of stealing cleaning supplies. That night, Ethan couldn't take it anymore. As he sat outside under the heavy clouds, he realized that this woman, this maid, reminded him of his own mother. She too had worked as a cleaner when he was young, invisible to the world, yet holding her family together with trembling hands and endless hope. He remembered the night she died, exhausted and sick, before she could see the life her son built. And now, watching Clara struggle in the same way, he felt something awaken inside him. Guilt, regret, and the aching desire to make things right. The next morning, he found Clara in the garden, quietly trimming roses. Her eyes were swollen, her movements slow. He approached her gently, keeping his disguise intact. "Rough night?" he asked softly. She looked up, startled, and quickly wiped her face. "Sorry, I didn't know anyone was here," she whispered. "You shouldn't apologize for crying," he said. "Sometimes It's the only thing that keeps us human. She managed a faint smile. Maybe, but humans don't pay bills, sir. Work does. She turned away, cutting another rose. A drop of blood appeared on her finger, and she gasped. Without thinking, Ethan reached for her hand and held it. Their eyes met, hers wide with embarrassment, his soft with unspoken pain. In that moment, something shifted. He saw her not as an employee, not as a struggling maid, but as a reflection of the world he had long forgotten. A world where love, loss, and resilience mattered more than money or power. Over the following days, Ethan quietly began helping her, secretly fixing things, easing her workload, slipping small anonymous envelopes of cash into her locker. He used his resources quietly, unseen, to pay off part of her hospital bills. Each time she discovered a miracle, a bill paid, a medicine delivered, she whispered a prayer of gratitude, never realizing the man sweeping the floor beside her was her unknown savior. But fate has its own way of testing hearts. One evening, the supervisor stormed into the staff kitchen, furious. Someone had reported money missing from the accounts, and Clara was the easiest target. They accused her of theft, shouting, humiliating her in front of everyone. Her hands shook as she tried to explain, tears running down her cheeks. "I swear I didn't take anything," she cried. Ethan's chest burned with anger, but he couldn't reveal himself yet. The plan had been to complete his undercover assessment and reveal his identity at the staff meeting next week, but watching Clara crumble under false accusation was too much. She was fired on the spot. That night, Ethan followed her out of the mansion as she walked through the rain, holding a small bag with her belongings. She stopped under a flickering streetlight, opened her locket and whispered, "I'm sorry, baby." Mama failed again. The sound broke him completely. Without hesitation, Ethan called his driver and ordered the car brought around. The next morning, he arrived at the mansion not as a cleaner, but as Ethan Graywood, the billionaire. His staff stood frozen, pale-faced, realizing who he truly was. He called a meeting, his voice cold but trembling with restrained fury. "There's been a mistake," he said, "a grave one. A woman has been punished for crimes she didn't commit, and that ends today." The supervisor stammered apologies, trying to justify himself. Ethan ignored him, his gaze fixed on the doorway, where Clara now stood, confused and hesitant, holding the locket in her trembling hand. "Clara," he said softly, "I owe you more than an apology. I owe you the truth." The entire staff fell silent as Ethan explained everything, how he had gone undercover, how he had seen her kindness, her integrity, her pain. Clara stared in shock, tears filling her eyes. She tried to speak, but her voice broke. "You helped me when no one was watching," Ethan continued, "and because of you, I remembered what it means to be human again." He walked toward her and handed her an envelope. Inside was a check, enough to pay off her debts, her son's surgery, and a new home. "This isn't charity," he said quietly. "It's gratitude. You saved me without knowing it." Clara sobbed, shaking her head. "I can't accept this." "Yes, you can," he said, "because kindness deserves to be repaid." A month later, Ethan visited the hospital where Clara's son, Jamie, was recovering after surgery, when the little boy smiled and said, "Thank you, mister." Ethan felt a warmth he hadn't known in years. He realized that sometimes the richest people aren't those with money, but those who still carry love in their hearts despite their pain. The Graywood mansion changed after that. Ethan restructured his staff system, raising wages, adding benefits, and creating scholarships for their children. He visited the staff quarters often, no longer as an employer watching from above, but as a man who finally understood the value of humility. And Clara, she stayed, not as a maid, but as the new head of household operations, a respected and loved member of the Graywood family. She found dignity again, and in her smile, Ethan found the peace he had been searching for all along. If this story touched your heart, please like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Your engagement helps us bring more true, emotional, and inspiring stories to life. Stories that remind us that compassion can change the world. Before you go, let us know in the comments, do you believe one act of kindness can change someone's entire life? Because sometimes It's not wealth or power that transforms the world. It's a simple moment of kindness, witnessed by the right heart at the right time.